Hello darlings, welcome to my channel. I finally got a studio quality mic, so I decided to put the new girl to good use. First and foremost, it is a pleasure to meet anyone that stumbles upon my content here. I am known as ShadowLink06 and I am currently in the Final Fantasy 15 fandom, although I love and respect all Final Fantasy games, Castlevania, Legend of Zelda, Sonic the Hedgehog, and quite a few anime fandoms that I have grown up with. Originally, this channel was going to be somewhere that I could post my Dissidia Opera Omnia content, but I confess I have fallen a bit behind, and instead of just showing myself dying all the time in Lufenia mode, I'm just going to post whatever I feel relevant at the time. Some of my plans include other mobile games I'm playing, time lapses of myself either coloring or drawing on traditional digital media, and just going over some game and in real life topics that impact me or even my environment. Before you start browsing around though, there are some things that you should know about me, and I'm telling you these things not to scare you away, but just to give you a proper trigger warning before opening any videos that I post on this channel. In fact, you should be prepared for me to talk about heavy subject matter. I will do my best to post warnings as they are needed, but I feel that I need to say this up front. First and foremost, I do not plan to monetize anything that is uploaded on this channel. I do this because I want to keep my personality and thoughts to my nature. While there may be exaggerations of an online persona, there are truth within the words that I speak. If you want to donate, I will have a few places such as Ko-Fi, and depending on the content people wish to see, I will list other ways to support my work if it comes to that. With that being said, please be aware that I will not attempt to make any profit on any content that is based on copyrighted material within this channel for personal reasons. I do not plan to criticize anyone in the fandoms I belong to on this channel. I am, however, going to critique an artist, but the circumstances for that are different. This particular artist is in the furry community, and when I post the first episode, I will explain my reasoning for the critique. I am not planning on being a tea channel, nor do I want to do commentary about other people or their questionable behavior. I see this play out on YouTube time and time again, and I don't want to be involved in that toxic environment. So short of the furry artist exception, expect all content on this channel to be centered around me and my interests. Most of my content will be voiceovers over games or whatever else I happen to be working on at the time. I do not plan to post my face online, again for personal reasons. Since I am taking on an online personality, I expect to be critiqued and I encourage it. I'm old school and know the difference between a valid criticism and just someone trolling me. I have experienced everything from having my reputation dragged into the mud, slanderous words said to discredit me, to flat out being doxxed in my time online. It's not fun, but people will be people. My experience is that if you come at me, I can and am capable of defending myself, my family, and those I care about. This is the only time I will say this, so take it as you will. Do not open a can of worms if you aren't prepared to feel the slime rolling over your body when you throw it at me. This is the only time I will ever mention my ethnicity, but to clear up confusion, yes, I am indeed a Black American and considered myself a cisgendered pansexual. If you mistook my gender for a guy, that is pretty common. Considering that I have been role-playing men for the better part of 15 years, it happens and I'm not offended. I will never try to use the race card during debates, and I truly hope those that follow me are because not of my race, religion, or political affiliations, but what I do online, i.e. create compelling stories. I have no hatred in my heart for anyone that expresses a different view than me. Pronouns are still something that I'm adjusting to, so be patient with me and know that I will try to respect boundaries. I am a millennial baby. My TV staples when growing up were anything from Martin, Prince of Bel-Air, Family Matters, Mad TV, Chris Rock, Ron White, The Simpsons, Boy Meets World, It's All That, Ren and Stimpy, Adam Sandler, I can go on and on and on. These comedians and what they spoke about were raw, unapologetic, and yes, somewhat offensive. This is how my humor is based on. If you get offended easily, you might want to pass my channel because you will get to hear curse words, you will hear me talk about dark topics, you may even consider me edgy. This is one of the main reasons why I'm not bothering to monetize anything that is posted here. If you are still here, then let me talk a little bit about myself. I'm someone that suffers from mental illness. I am being medicated and trying to keep myself from relapsing. I've been dealing with these episodes since I was 16 and have gotten much better about identifying when I'm starting to go off the deep end. If you see that I'm not posting, I might have stepped away from the internet for a while. This is going to happen, and I often don't know how long I'll be away. I ask that you respect my privacy, and for the love of God, do not rush me. As far as my writing goes, I will always consider myself a role player. Most of the original characters that I have go back to the 2000s when Toonami dominated Cartoon Network, and that was the go-to place to find the newest dubbed anime. My writing career took off in 3 stages: the fanfiction.net era, the role-playing scripting era, and then the AO3 era. I was a huge yaoi fan back in the day, and I could never get my hands on enough quality products without forking over money. As a result, I stumbled upon fanfiction.net was the go-to site for anything and everything that you wanted. I admit to being one of those idiot teenagers that were looking at adult things when I probably shouldn't have been. However, the way that some of the writers viewed characters and the thought that went into them appealed to me, and thus my first fanfiction was created featuring Vice Cruz. For those not familiar with the title, the plot concerns 4 men that are on the outside flower shop owners, but by night they are assassins determined to bring justice to those that skate outside of the legal system. In my defense, I thought it was a yaoi, but it turned out to be a cheesy flick with supernatural elements and hot men. 2 of those men were a toxic pairing, and yet there wasn't enough content about them, so I wrote my own. You can imagine that it was pretty bad since it was my first time writing, but it ended up being about 70k words, and even as I speak, the story, for whatever reason, still gets hits. The reason why I stopped fanfiction after this particular story was because several of my readers wanted the bad guy to lose and the good guy to win, which is the total opposite of how the story played out. I wasn't motivated after this and largely dropped out of fanfic writing when I discovered an online furry community called Furcadia in late 2005. Yes, this community is still around, although most, including myself, have opted to move to a site called RP Repository. For all the faults about the game, and I say that rather loosely since it's more like a giant chat room for old school that's similar to old school AIM or IRC before forums and Tumblr started to gain traction. Within Furcadia, I learned the fundamental lessons about how to write, how to world build, and more importantly, how to create compelling characters no matter if they were morally good or evil. Most of my characters that I play are in fact evil. Fast forward to 2020, with a lot of personal matters going on, I got unmotivated to play with my roleplay partners, and I happened to come back to looking at fanfiction writing again. I discovered that there aren't enough content featuring my favorite Final Fantasy 15 toxic pairing, and I started to create content. This also happened to be where I was laid off from work, and I was able to watch a lot of movies and anime at the time. While speaking on anime, let me say that I do have an affection for the Japanese culture. Not only did I live over there when I was younger, but I got a chance to study abroad during my junior year of college. I'll likely speak more of my adventures there, but if I didn't have my current boyfriend, I'd likely be hitting someone up on whatever the equivalent is for JapaneseHarmony.com and chatting with some guys. I love Japan in every shape and or form, to the point where my friends tease me about going back to Japafrica. Good times. So, this is my introduction. Please take these warnings carefully. For those curious about me, my work, my thought processes, pull up a chair, grab a cup of coffee, and let's chat. After all, darkness can't survive without the light.